Okay, welcome back. I'm so sorry we didn't get to that report that I spoke about, but we do have Mr. Olowolaju. Mr. Olowolaju is calling in from Amacree in Ondo State. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in. Go ahead. What did you want to say?
Yeah, part of number one, I want to agree with the security part online. Good morning, sir. Yes. Yeah, part of my contribution is one, I want to agree with the security experts that have just made contribution. One, it's not possible in Nigeria for us to have Sheikh Gumi negotiating and the federal government saying they don't know anything about it. And this is one of the reasons why some people are agitating for the resignation of the telecom minister.
You can't listen to yourself. Just keep on speaking. Don't worry about you listening to the echo. Okay, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Olowolaju. We appreciate your call. Called in from Akure in Ondo State. Okay, the point he was making there, maybe somebody else will pick up the point, is that he finds it difficult to understand how a person like Sheikh Abubakar Gumi will be actually participating in this whole release effort, and the federal government wouldn't know about it. Well, okay, that's his opinion. But we hear, as we were told by Stephen Okwori, that actually these things, when the so-called back channels, they're not supposed to be known. And it's like those are going on quietly while, other things are happening. At the end of the day, I guess it's all about bringing the kids back, or whoever has been abducted. These are the challenges that we face, and there's this whole matter of people don't know what to believe, because this is the kind of thing that could suggest to some people that government tells us only what they want to tell us. But when you look at the results, you then begin to evaluate what was either said or was not said, and you begin to wonder the extent to which you can trust government in these matters. But this is a very important security concern. So if government is going to be keeping some things under its hat, there are those who will say that this is not unexpected, this is not unusual. But there is the big danger that I think the authorities want to put it in the consciousness of the bandits that there are no easy pickings here. Don't think that just because you go kidnap some people, then a government will pay. I just want this to be, because I was seeing some very worrying writings, some stories along the lines, for example, one that Sheikh Gumi at one point was advocating, very, very recently in the past 24, 48 hours, was advocating that a government, whether it was CBN, whether it was anybody, but government should pay. And then when we get them back, we can then know what to do. But he was actually allegedly encouraging authorities to pay up. I think there was something along the lines of if you give a person 100 million naira, that's a humongous sum. He won't be able to run away with it. I couldn't make very much sense of the story myself, but I'm paraphrasing it to you. You must have, some of you who are on social media might have seen that yourself. So these are the things that are going on here. In fact, it's becoming murkier and murkier, even as we are getting results. So there's so much turmoil, if you want to call it that, going on in there. Only yesterday here, on the whole security angle, we were talking about the presidency through Mr. Adesina in the presidency, spokesman of the president, actually putting out the day before yesterday that there were plans afoot to unseat the president. Where this information came from, they said usually unimpeachable sources had given them this to understand, and they in turn were baring their teeth and bare fangs, so to speak, and saying that essentially let nobody try it because it will be met very, very robustly, and it didn't matter whose not so much ox will be God or toes will be trodden on. I think the what they used was feathers ruffled, no matter whose feathers will be ruffled, which again begins to suggest that perhaps government is guessing as to some people that might well be involved. There was a criticism that, look, if you know these people, why don't you just go after them and then tell us after the fact? But I believe we have someone else on the line. Michael, good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, this is just to congratulate the parents of those students that have just regained their freedom yesterday. And at the same time as well, to comment. Hello?
Don't bother, Michael. Just speak on. Don't listen to yourself or to me on the echo.
And at the same time to comment about Olusegun Obasanjo for his efforts to regain the freedom of those students. And at the same time, hello, at the same time to pray to those parents that have lost the life of their students in the struggle, that they may God give them the fortitude to bear the Lord. That is it. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in, Michael. That I'm sure will be deeply appreciated by the parents of the students that we have got back, talking about those abducted from the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization in Africa. But as you point out, Michael, there are still other students that are still in the hands of their captives, and it's only for ransom, and this has gotten quite worrying. And government, in an effort to sort of stem the tide of this untoward kind of attitude, now is saying that we will not be dealing with them. So it's like they can't think that they have a paycheck. The only problem now, of course, is that because they are human beings, and in particular, they're not minors, but youth that are being kidnapped. To most mothers, it doesn't matter if you are 27, you're still your mother's baby. They are seeing it as, these are my babies here. And I'm sure that father that is going to sort of try and be chill, even though I don't think that there are very many of them, will not be allowed to be chill at the instance of the mother. So there's that's the tension in here. Government is not dealing with them. Government at least is leaving them that, look, if you do anything, you're on your own. And these guys are coming up with some monies. I understand that they asked for 500 million naira in the first instance, but you know, they didn't get that. But they did get a princely sum still. Now, how many of the parents of those kids that have been abducted actually have disposable incomes in the millions? I mean, it's not happening. How many people have $1 million naira in savings? Let it be said. How many people in Nigeria have that? So people are going to go around borrowing, pledging this, selling that, and it's quite frankly something that concerns all of us. And today, it's somewhere in as far as you're concerned, in far off north. It could be anywhere tomorrow. I heard David is on the line. Good morning, David. Thank you for holding on. Oh, I lost David. Please call in again. We'd like to hear from you. We at least. And the other thing that bears saying is that, remember that they had said in the case of the Kaduna University students, I think it was it Monday or so, that they had given this horrible deadline that if you don't come across, whoever is concerned, government, parents, if you don't come across with our ransom demand, then we will begin to kill those kids. And, you know, that was just something else. Did I hear something about one being released? Maybe one was released. I don't know, but there hasn't been any news that they have slaughtered these innocent captives that they have. Good morning, Ikenna.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
All right, what I have to say is that I think it's not possible to fight banditry and this kind of insecurity. Don't work with locals. Because I think in the north there's something called the impact police that are mostly made up of people around the area, around the states. I think I know I'm not sure about other states. It is almost direct sabotage. If you work with security agencies that are foreign to the state, because if you work with locals, they actually know exactly where these people are. We talk of shaky groups that make interactions, that make business with a lot of people. Am I still on? I'm not still on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I think there should be some form of involvement with locals to be able to tackle the issue of kidnapping and banditry. The local people living on the ground, because we are trying to attack we're trying solutions from outside, from Nigerian military, from police that are not on the ground. We must work with local vigilantes, must work with community health, must work with people living in the community to be able to get reasonable results. That's what I have to say.
All right, then. I want to thank you very much for calling in to say it. Indeed, all hands need to be on deck. These are different times, because there's also a report, I think it is the Tide newspaper is reporting that following the arrival, dropping off of about 200 bandits. Some are saying bandits, some are saying Fulani herdsmen, following their arrival, that they were dropped off in a lorry, close to Abuja, reportedly coming in from, Niger. People began to, people in Abuja, in schools in Abuja, began to withdraw their wards, the children from schools, simply because that was too many people coming in without any knowledge. Even one report that I read said that Miyetti Allah itself said that they themselves, when they sort of found out, tried to find out what exactly they were about, we just need better clarity. On the one hand, we're hearing about bandits arriving and causing sort of fear and pandemonium. On the other hand, we're hearing that some arrived with cattle, and in trying to move their cattle across, they caused a sort of a traffic jam. Reportedly, all of them said, well, most of them reportedly say that they were on their way to Bauchi. So how this kind of a thing will be going on in the midst of this kind of a situation, and people are still able to do these kind of things, that is, drive very sizable number of people and just drop them. I don't know if they're Nigerians or if they're not Nigerians. So you can see that it's a very sort of a dicey atmosphere that we have on our hands now. But at least we have the good news of 27 kids were actually, brought in. Okay, I hear that our friend Dennis Amacree, security consultant, is also on the line on Skype. Good morning, Dennis, and thank you very much for joining in.
Good morning, Yori. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Well, I thought it was Skype, but apparently it's the phone. You're on the phone. It's good. We'll take whatever we can get. Dennis, there you get now. From the phone, now I've seen you. Good morning again. It's good news that 27 kids were released after 56 days, in captivity. Now, we've spoken about some things. I want you to please elaborate a bit more on the back channels, the usefulness of the back channels that they say are always deployed when this kind of a thing happens. And how often do we use these back channels?
Well, back channels are normal in hostage negotiations. And it comes useful when a government does not want to deal directly with kidnappers or terrorists, so to say. So they use a third party. The third parties are what are called back channels. And these guys will go ahead, they have the free reign of the principal to go ahead and do their negotiations. And if the negotiations are agreeable, to the principal, then I think a deal is struck. So I think this is not a new thing. We used them during the Dapchi Girls, even the first Chibok Girls release, the Swiss Red Cross, the Red Cross group were the people who we can refer to as back channels right now. So that's what it is.
Okay, so government doesn't, well, government haven't made its statement and its policy known that we don't deal, and that, I think, is, quite frankly, that's a sort of a universal attitude. But as you said, there are ways of going about this because people, for instance, are complaining that when, in the Kaduna case, they threatened that they will slaughter those kids if, you know, those students, if that ransom demand wasn't made. There were those who actually were, you know, criticizing government for their silence. There was a deafening silence. So what is government going to say? Did you not hear them? But what you're saying is that in all probability, back channels were in full swing to see what could be done.
Yes, in every kidnap situation, it is not what is going on that the public will hear. The public is very, very ignorant of what the channels, or should I say, the processes are. So the negotiations will go on, and let me make this very clear. Negotiations is different from ransom payment. That's why we're saying that government should take a position of non-payment of ransom, but will negotiate. Now, negotiations can go in different forms because at the end of the day, there is going to be a give and take. And the give and take, you know, what we are trying to propose here is that the give and take should not involve money. The give and take could involve other things.
Software update.
So it is said that even this particular situation where a prisoner that is belonging to the bandits has to be exchanged, you know, so that he can come to his people, and then of course in exchange you give back the students that you've taken. In history, Israel has actually exchanged some Egyptian soldiers for a dead Israeli soldier. So these are the kinds of things that could happen when it comes to negotiations.
Yeah, it's good to know, and this is virtually standard policy. Now, you know, former President Obasanjo has actually been speaking, and he's been reported on by some papers. He said that governments say that they won't pay and that they don't pay, but that he, speaking from his lofty height of being former President Olusegun Obasanjo, is saying that governments actually do pay ransom. And I don't know, how helpful is this? I mean, first of all, yeah, he has said it. How useful is this? What does this do for us? How does this help us?
I think what the former president said was that he does not the payment of ransom, you know, but ransom is being paid. You know, so that is what we're talking about. Ransom, I think we should stay away from ransom. And the former president even said it, that if ransom is paid, what do they use it for? They go and equip themselves. They go and buy more arms, you know. So as much as possible, stay away from ransom payment. And then, of course, I would want to add that the hostage and ransom situation, kidnap and ransom situation, does not end from just kidnapping people and then paying ransom. No. There should be other techniques of making sure that they don't get the money. Because how can you go and give millions of money to bandits and then they take it away without even feeling sorry for it? Because you are not pursuing them. You are not going after them. They are so comfortable using the money and, of course, using it to go and get more arms to come and fight you again. So I think the hostage and the kidnap situation in Nigeria has been one that we have been very complacent about it, in the terms that we allow them. It's easy to take a hostage. Every Nigerian is now scared because it's easy. They could be kidnapped, and then of course ransom will be the next step, and then of course millions and millions will change hands, and then you release them, and then tomorrow they will go to another place again and take hostages.
Indeed.
Make it uncomfortable, make it unattractive, make it very difficult for them to receive ransom. I think that's the way to go, and I think the security agencies should start working on that.
And as you say, it shouldn't be that once we've paid the ransom, we got our people back. That should not be the end of it. They should still continue to be pursued. They still need to be pursued.
They should pursue these guys and make sure that that money is not enjoyed by them. It should, in fact, they should give them marked notes, you know.
Yeah.
But there are other techniques that can be used.
Exactly.
You know, even coloring, all kinds of things. And then, for the released hostages, I think the security agencies know what to do.
Okay.
They should debrief them.
Just a quick...
Debrief them properly to get more information about these terrorists.
A quick one, Dennis, just before we go. The Greenfield University threatening to, kill their, captives if the ransom was not paid. Mercifully, we haven't heard anything about that happening. Are you optimistic that that will end well? We will get our youths back?
I think something is going on. I don't think that we just abandon them in the hands of the kidnappers. Something is really going on, and I think in a few days we should be able to hear something about it.
Yeah, so I guess we need to keep our fingers crossed on that. Thank you very much, Dennis.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis Amacree, for joining us this morning. Dennis Amacree, MON, former Deputy Director, DSS, and security consultant. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our program. We're happy that 27 abducted students of the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization in Afaka, Kaduna State, we got them back. There are still many more students in captivity. Still, our hearts go out to them. We're praying and we're keeping our fingers crossed as government is working around the clock on the matter. Thank you also for calling in, those that were able to call in. The lines were one kind today, but thank you very much for your efforts. So see you tomorrow, God willing, with a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folari. Bye-bye for now.